If you've been struggling playing bar chords, this is the song you should have started playing yesterday. Let's check it out. What's up everyone, this is AJ Hansen from Level Up Your Guitar. Today's song of the day is Like a Stone by Audioslave. This is my favorite song to teach my students how to get into bar chords, or teaching their very first bar chords. So, if you're looking for a teacher, I do teach guitar lessons. I have some availability, so go down to the links and check that out. Alright, so moving on, what we'll do is we'll go through the verse line, which is just a simple little melody. Then we get into the bar chords, which in the chorus is very simple because you're just doing single whole notes. Then we'll cover the bridge section, which has a very common, simple rhythm. And then the last part we'll go over the solo, but I'm going to throw a little twist on it because I'm going to assume most people probably don't have one of Tom Morello's Digitech Whammy pedals. So I'm going to put a little twist on it so it's accessible for most of you. Alright, so let's dive in. So in the beginning of the verse, we've got index finger on the A string, 13th fret. Followed by the ring finger playing the 15th fret on the E string. And that's going to take up most of the verse line right there, between just playing two notes with two fingers and that same dotted quarter note rhythm, and then holding the second note. Then in the second measure, you're just going to swap positions. This will look like your normal power chord that you most likely already know how to play. So ring finger, again on the A string, 15th fret, and then index on the E string, 13th fret. And so far we can just keep down picking all that. Once you finish that second measure, slide the same shape down to the 10th fret. So we're just playing 10 and 12 on the E and A strings. Then here in the final measure, you can move up one fret. So now my index and ring are in frets 11 and 13. But now we're going to do a little string skipping. So we've got 11 on the E string, 11th fret, and then skip a string, and your ring finger is going to be on the D string, 13th fret. Now what I like to do here is introduce a little alternate picking, so down on the 11, up on the 13th. Because we're going to go back to the 11th on the E string, and then use the middle finger for the 12th, also an up pick. So adding the alternate picking this way just makes it easier, so your pick is always traveling to your next note. And I think if you haven't done much alternate picking, this is a good place to start doing that sort of thing. Let me move it to here. So it's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. The rest of it can all be down picks. That's the entire verse. So, moving right along into the chorus. Now you're going to need a little bit of distortion. So before we had a clean, I have just a vibrato pedal on my amp setting here. Nothing too special. I'm not copying the tone exactly. But for the next part, we need some distortion. Something like that. Alright, so now we're going to get into the chorus. So I'm going to go over some of the anatomy, if you will, of how to do a bar chord properly. So let's get into that. If you've been struggling with this, number one rule is to keep your finger as low as possible. So in this G minor chord, we're going to cover all 6 strings in fret 3. So instead of, having your finger poking way out above, like it's hailing a cab or something like that, keep it as low as possible. You want You want it to be as aerodynamic as possible. So if your finger's sticking up, can't get through here, but as soon as it's low, you know, like I said, it's very aerodynamic when you keep the finger low, because then you get more of the fingertip involved, and you also avoid a lot of this bulky mush at the bottom of the index finger. So keep your finger low, and that's step one. Step two is when you're looking down at your finger. Right now I'm facing towards the camera, and my fingernail is pointing at 12 o'clock towards that camera. When you look at your finger, rotate it counterclockwise or to the left to about 10 or 11 o'clock. Because what that's going to do is it's going to take away the strings going across the front of the finger here, which has all this flesh and padding, and you have to work harder to get the string to make good contact. Whereas when you rotate that finger a little bit counterclockwise, then you get to the side of the finger, and that's where you can feel the bone, and you're going to make a lot better contact with the string. So, again, keep the finger as low as possible and rotate it counterclockwise to about 10, 11 o'clock. So, from there, we've got our full bar. Now we can add a couple extra fingers here. So we've got the ring finger on the A string, 5th fret, and then pinky right underneath on the D string, 5th fret. Now this is a good one. I'm going to stop us already. This is a good chord to do because the minor chord is probably one of the harder shapes because, again, the height of the finger that I mentioned earlier, if you've tried this chord and had especially muting in the 3rd string, what often happens is that if for example, my pick is the string, this joint is going to fall right into that joint there. So if you keep it low and rotated, you avoid that altogether. So, because with a major chord, which is what we're going to see next, you know, your bar finger is playing that 3rd string note, which is the most important one because that's what makes it a minor chord. So that's our G minor. The next chord is B flat. So we can take this exact same shape and move it from fret 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're most of the way there. So right now it's B flat minor, but we need to make it major by putting our middle finger on the 3rd string, 7th fret. Right there. So that should be your first goal right there, is just going up and back between G minor to B flat major. These are 2 of the 4 most used bar chords. This minor chord, which is G minor, and B flat major. So you're already right off the bat in the beginning getting 2 chord shapes that you're going to use all the time. Going back around, I kind of skipped over, with the rhythm, they're just whole notes. So you just have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why this song is so good to introduce beginner bar chord players, because you've got time to think about what you're doing. As soon as you get a rhythm involved, then it kind of goes crazy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next chord, this is the other major shape. So we did the B flat major, where the root is on the low E string. Now our next major shape is going to be starting from the A string. So let's check that out. So this is an F major, starting with the index finger on the A string, 8th fret. Now, technically, I gotta talk about this. Academically, what you'll see in all the books is that you're gonna bar this all the way across and then use the ring finger to bar. So this is almost like a double bar chord. You might see it a little bit easier here, where I'm barred here and then my ring finger is barred there. What often happens in a lot of rock and roll is that people tend to not play the high skinny string because it sounds a little too happy. As soon as you take that high E string out, it's a little bit more mysterious sounding from its voicing. So I'll show you how to build this one with only playing those 4 inside strings, because when you do that, the index finger is no longer the barring finger. You can relax it, or again, if you can see from here, I'm not fully engaged with my bar. I'm a little bit relaxed there and muting the strings. It's the ring finger that's doing the barring, and there's a little special maneuver that is going to be tough in the beginning, but this is what to look out for. So you can see with my ring finger here, it's staying flat, but in order not to hit the 10th fret on the high E string, what we're doing is we're keeping this top knuckle flat, and then our finger is angling up. So if you can see here, this isn't the best angle where I'll get this finger out of the way. You can see my ring finger is kind of creating this mountain peak right here, and then it's wrapping around naturally. So we don't want this ring finger to be totally flat. You want that mountain peak right there. So you may have to just put the finger down, press down here, try and lift this up. That's okay. That's how I did it in the beginning because I didn't know any better. But that strength and flexibility will show up over time. So don't give up on it right away. That's how most people will play it. I've seen a few pros like Alex Lifeson from Rush plays it like this, but I would recommend like this. We've got this F major chord, hold that for 4 beats, and then you're going to go back to the G minor chord from the beginning. So in total we've got G minor, B flat major, F major on the A string, back to G minor. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So once you've done that, the next 4 measures in the chorus, just repeat. So you do the exact same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, B flat, F, back to G minor. So already, that's a good start. Focus on that first line. If that's feeling good, we'll check out the next line. So now, if you're looking at the sheet music, again, you can download that from my website, totally free. And here we've got an E flat, G minor, F major, G minor, E flat, G minor. So it's going E flat, G, F, G, E flat, G. So we already know the shapes for this, we just got to put it in the right frets. So starting on the second line of the chorus, we've got E flat starting on the A string, 6th fret, and that ring finger holding down the D, G, and B strings all together. So the ring finger's doing the barring. Then to G minor, 3rd fret. Now we go back to that F chord, back to G minor, then back to E flat major, and then G minor. So here I would say it's pretty safe once you get used to the E flat to G minor, then you can clump together those first 6 measures of line 2 and And then finally we come to the last 2 measures, which has a D dominant 7, or D7 for short. So this one may look kind of scary. I know when students first try this kind of on their own before I generally walk them through how to do it, they panic a little bit, but I'll show you 2 little ways to think about it. Again, we can think of it more shape-like, where it's this zigzag shape, so the numbers or from the tablature go 5, 7, 5, 7, the 5 being the bars, and then the ring and pinky playing the 2 7s. And again, just the 4 inside strings. Now the other mental trick for this, since you're coming from G minor, you've got your bar all the way across, and then the ring and the pinky on the A and the D strings. If you take that G minor, slide it up 2 frets, push everything down, all you have to do is move that pinky down to the 2nd string. So if we jump up and back between G minor and D7, they're basically the same shape. It's just the D7, you're stretching out the ring and pinky. Whereas the G minor, they're together, now they're apart. So, let me play the entire chorus. 2, 3, 4. And then we'd be going back into the verse. So that covers verse and chorus. I'm going to skip the solo. We'll do that last. We'll hit the last rhythmic part of this song. In the original recording, Tom Morello switches to an acoustic guitar. In the beginning of the bridge, we've got an E flat major chord. But now we're going to step it up a notch in complexity because we're going to add an actual strumming pattern. Now the nice thing about this particular strumming pattern is a very common one. Like this first song that pops in my head that uses this would be Good Riddance by Green Day. So it goes 1, 2, and 4, and. Down, down, up, down, up. So I'll demonstrate that. So we've got E flat, which is on the 6th fret of the A string, and then the ring finger is going to bar the next 3 strings in the 8th fret. So we've got 1, 2, and 4, and down, down, up, down, up. So that's the rhythm that's going to go through the rest of this. So after the E flat, we're going to go back to a chord we've already played, B flat major, which is in the same fret. And basically you're just going to take that E flat chord and roll that bar up into it. And hopefully your other fingers can also roll into that. If not, it's fine to kind of pick up your fingers one at a time, get used to it, but it's not as far of a travel as it looks on paper. So now we've got B flat with the same rhythm, 1, 2, and 4, and. So again from the beginning, starting at E flat, D flat, D7, we already know this one, back to E flat. So that first line of the bridge is all chord shapes we know. It's just a new rhythm. On the second line of the bridge in the sheet music, now we finally get the last shape that we need for this is the E flat minor chord, or the minor chord with the bass note or the root note being on the A string. So it's nice and simple to think of because we're coming from this E flat chord, 6, 8, 8, 8, and then we're going to unbar this ring finger, and we'll go index on 6 on the A string, ring and pinky on the 8th frets on the D and the G strings. So far we've just got a normal power chord, but now the middle finger is going to be on the B string 7th fret. So you could compare this to your B flat major chord. It's just lower to the ground. So there's your E flat minor. Down, down, up, down, up. Now this is very cool, playing this E flat major to E flat minor. Little inside baseball. This is a borrowed chord. The E flat minor is a borrowed chord. You don't need to know that, but it is going from the major 4 to the minor chord, which when I first learned this in college, my music theory professor was like, think of like old school Hollywood movies. And I remember my eyes lighting up, and one of my friends who was in my music theory class knew my style of music and like looked directly at me, and they're like, "You like that, don't you?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like that. I love that sound." So get your ears attuned to that major 4 chord to the minor 4 chord. Very cool sounding. So we leave that cool borrowed chord goodness, E flat minor, and then we just take our major shape from the A string root, and we put in the 3rd fret because now we're playing a C major bar chord. So index on the A string 3rd fret, and then ring finger again with that nice mountain peak. Don't think I was going to let you get relaxed on that. So get that nice mountain peak with the ring finger across the 5th fret. So once you've done the C major there, now we go back to D7, which you already know. And then back to G minor. So in the sheet music here, you're going to see that little 1 with the bracket. This is the first ending. So of the bridge, you'll play that E flat, B flat, D7, E flat minor, C major, D7, G minor, and then you're going to repeat it again. But on the second repeat, you're going to take the second ending, which only has 2 D7 chords. So I'm going to play this entire bridge for you. 2, 3, 4. And there, since we're going to come back into the chorus, best to just play all 8th notes on those final 2 D7 chords in the second ending. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you can go back to your nice distorted sound for the chorus. And the last little bit of rhythmic information is when you play the final chorus, you've got the 2 D7 chords at the end, and then the outro of the song is an E flat major chord. So coming out of the last 2 D7 chords of the chorus, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, E flat major. 6, 8, 8, 8. So rhythmically, that's everything you need to know for the song. If all you want to do is the rhythm portion of this song, that's totally cool. I do have the arrangement right underneath the title of the song. So you got verse, verse, chorus, solo, which is just the chorus again, the bridge, which we just went over, the final chorus, and then the outro, which the outro is just an E flat major chord. So really nice ending, great chord progressions. So now comes the guitar solo time. So if you're a Audioslave Tom Morello purist, I am going to disappoint you, and don't worry, I'll sleep fine tonight. Because most people are not going to own a Digitech Whammy pedal. Heck, I don't even own one. So how is someone who's just learning to play barred chords emulate this solo without it sounding dorky? Because that's always my rule whenever I do any of these videos on YouTube, is I don't want it to sound dorky no matter how much it's simplified. So I've got it listed here on the sheet music as being primarily in 8th position in the beginning. because of Tom Morello's whammy pedal, I believe he has it tuned to when he sweeps the pedal, it goes up 2 octaves, so he might play this G right here or here, but what you're hearing is that one. So the problem is this solo does go very high in the end, but if you don't have that stuff, we want to use the fact that this is the end of our guitar, so we're going to start a little bit lower, but not too low. So let's just check this out. So we've got on the B string, fret 8 with the index finger, 1, 2, 3, fret 10, fret 11. So there's the first 2 measures already. We've got a dotted half note for 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty simple. Then we've got this. I love this. This is a Tresillo beat. So you see there's 2 dotted quarter notes and a quarter note. So you get the C note on the first string, 8th fret, then pinky on 11 on the B string, ring finger on 10 of the B string, and then finish again at the 8th fret. So the Tresillo beat is just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very cool rhythm. You'll see it everywhere. So the first line of the solo, again, goes like this. And then on line 2, it's going to start similar. This G note, or 8 on the B string. 2, 3, ring finger on 10, and then you could use ring finger rolling into the G string. 1, 2, 3, 4, roll. Pinky on 11 for 2 beats. 11 on the B string. 8 on the high E string, and then end with the ring finger on the 10th fret. So I'll play the second line in total. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where it's going to go up an octave and outline this little, kind of like a D minor chord with the extra B flat note here. So this is where I would definitely recommend doing a little bit of alternate picking, because it's got this 8th note with 2/16. If you don't understand that, that's okay. It's kind of like a galloping rhythm. You can almost imagine Monty Python writing to that.
And that may lead just how we know the Earth to be banana-shaped.
That's that galloping rhythm. So we've got, starting at the 18th fret with the middle finger on the high E. So it's easy to think about in terms of shapes. You know, some people poo-poo that. I kind of sit on the fence. It's both good and bad. So if this is sort of new playing to you, just focus on the shape. So it's middle finger on 18, and then index finger on 17, and then you just kind of step on the B string. What is that? 18th fret and then 19th fret with the ring finger on the G string. So that's the figure. Now we just have to add the rhythm to it and the alternate picking. Let me show you what my picking hand is doing here. So I'm going down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. And you'll go through that 4 times. Then the last little bit of this is one final scale all the way up. I have it notated starting on the B string, and then it switches to the A string. So I'll show you what we've got here. So we've got, starting on the B string, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 18, 20, Now we switch to the high E, 17, 18, 17, 18, 17, for a total of 8 beats, or 2 tied whole notes. So that is the gist of the solo. Now, that's playing it a little square, honestly. Trying to mimic that Digitech Whammy pedal without one of those. You could certainly use whammy bar. I don't have my whammy bar set up on my Strat here. But for this solo, how I actually would play it in this sort of context, I would slide into everything. So this could also be a really great sliding exercise. So we got... Now when I get here, I stick to basically just my middle finger doing all these slides. Little mistake there.
Really?
I'm not gonna edit that out. You're gonna get the raw footage from me. So I'm doing all 8 middle finger slides, and then I'll switch to my index and middle for the 17, 18. And that last 17 one, I make it really dramatic because it's the end of the solo. You don't want everything to be the same all the time. So that's the solo. So you can either play it very straight with your fingers, or you could do some of the sliding tricks and play a little more accurately. The air is kind of dry, but whatever, no excuses. But that'll get you through this entire song of Like a Stone by Audioslave. Very great song for bar chords primarily, but it's still, if you're just entering bar chords, you should be able to handle a solo like this. Where it gets, if that's a little too hard, just simplify it down. Instead of playing each note 3 times, just play it once. No one's going to call you out on it if you're still kind of in your beginning phases. It'll still sound fine. That's going to do it for this video. If you're still hanging out, the last few things I'll mention. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube typical stuff that you've all heard a million times. That would be great. I do like interacting with you guys. And then if you are someone who is looking for private lessons, that is what I do. I've been teaching privately for like 25 years now, have my own business doing it. I just teach online. Whether if you're looking to learn rock and roll, metal, blues, jazz, classical. I am a classically trained guitarist. I have degrees in classical and jazz. So if you're looking for a guitar teacher, hit me up at www.levelupyourguitar.com and I'll chat with you soon. Catch you later.